One Accord Performance Choir has written a poem for Poems at the Palace and in honour of the many ghost stories from the theatre. 'Twas opening night at the theatre. The anticipation was sharp. The talented Madame Kozinski was ready on stage with her harp.
The audience thrilled with excitement. The ushers stood guard on the door. Every seat in the house had been taken, including the one marked B4.
The house lights were dimmed out to darkness. The audience murmured out down. In the orchestra pit, the conductor stared hard at the first violin with a frown.
You could hear a pin drop on the carpet as the curtains swept back to disclose the redoubtable Madame Kozinski. Such a thrill for the first 7 rows.
As the orchestra struck up with feeling and the heavenly harpist began, the lady in mauve sat in the seat B5 fluttered her second best fan. She turned to her neighbour in rapture, in praise of the skilled overture, and for the first time since the evening began, looked back at the man in B4.
There was something about his demeanour that stopped what she'd wanted to say, and now that she'd noticed his curious clothes filled her with troubling dismay.
She couldn't be totally certain, for the light was exceedingly dim, but it very much seemed that the glare from the stage fell everywhere else but on him.
His face was the deepest of shadow. His hat had a very large brim. She could hardly make out any features at all, just the gleam of his teeth from within. His hat had an old faded feather. His boots were as tall as could be. And she thought she could see through the cloth of his coat the man in the seat marked B3.
On the stage was Belladonna Kozinski, was proving the harp was her own, but down in B5 sat the lady in mauve, silent and chilled to the bone.
The audience gladly succumbed to the magic the orchestra wove, and the man in B4 put his hand on the arm of the shivering lady in mauve.
With a glorious flourish, Madame strummed the finishing chord. The audience leapt to its feet in delight, still unknowing of the things toward.
The applause did not under-deliver, nor curtain call count disappoint. The conductor received a bouquet for himself, which put Madame's nose out of joint.
But when the noise died to a murmur, and brightly the house lights came up, and people looked round for their gloves and their hats, and tried to decide where to sup.
In spite of the house being crowded, with a crush you could barely survive, it was noticed that still there were 2 empty seats, the ones marked B4 and B5.